Happy Saturday, beautiful people. Happy Saturday. Happy New Year. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So grateful that we've all literally made it into the newness of 2021. We have gone through so much, and this platform, Get On Up with Erica J, was created to bring an element of joy and inspiration to anyone and everyone who is going through something. You know, good, bad, or indifferent, this entire pandemic has really stretched all of our minds, bodies, and souls. And this particular Saturday is the first Saturday of the new year, and we have a special guest, Dionne Audain, who is a dear friend of mine. She's an actress, entrepreneur, financier. She is everything. And Dionne was on the show a few times in 2020 during the launch of this. But we get to talk about relationships. And if you're new to Single Saturdays, this is a platform for singles, of course, but people in relationships, just trying to get insight on opinions, and I have different topics. And I'm going to bring Dionne on now. But before I do, hello to everyone who has is tuning in, logged in. Pusha Talk Radio Live, Dagro, I hope I'm saying that right. Simon, I see you. May and Dionne, yes. I'm bringing you on now, my love. Hello to everyone. Hope you're having a good Saturday. And we get to talk.
Hi.
Hey, beautiful. You look yellow is your color, darling.
Thank you. Let me turn up the volume. Happy New Year 2021. Can you hear
Let's
me?
just get through. You know, I'm looking forward to vacations and vacations. I've been doing a lot of manifesting, so I'm ready for it all. So, for those who don't know Dionne, she, again, like I said, she's an actress. She's a woman of many, many trades, and of course, that West Indian blood runs deep. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm very proud of all of the things you've accomplished and are accomplishing. And we get to talk about relationships. So today's topic is the importance of faith and spirituality in relationships. You know, do you value them? Do you not value them? And I mean, in general, everyone, you know, and feel free to put in the comments what you feel and how you feel about faith and spirituality when dating and in a serious relationship. So Dionne, how do you feel about faith and spirituality as a whole?
As a whole, I think it's important in a relationship. I would definitely have an issue with someone who says they're an atheist or they don't believe in a higher power or God or, you know, goddess, universe, spirit, all, like they don't ascribe or subscribe to anything. And then also too, I have dated those individuals who are like, well, I don't believe in spirituality. I only believe in the Bible, or I only believe in, you know, the kingdom man or kingdom woman. And so I'm not that either. I'm more, you know, I grew up in the church. And then as I grew older, I found my own path and my own relationship with God, the Bible, spirit, all in the universe. And, you know, we all come from one source. So, but you have to have something. You have to have something. You can't have nothing. So that's where I am. Hopefully that answers your question.
No, it does. And I agree. And I think this is going to be a fun platform to really talk about all of that, because I completely agree with you. I do believe that spirituality is important, because I think it does our ego a service instead of a disservice when we take away from God, the universe, the whole nine. And it also shows that there's a lack of accountability. So when people just say, I personally believe, this is my personal opinion, when people don't believe in a higher power, they have this sense of lack of a moral compass, you know, in my personal opinion. People who don't believe in any that there's a God or there's a higher being. I find that them to be just free will, completely free will. And I can
Okay.
see, you get what I'm saying? I can see that being an issue. And again, no one's perfect. Even spiritual people, Christians, Jews, Muslims, we all have the bad seeds in all of those elements. But I think that it is important, and even in the space of faith, right? And being in the same denomination or whatever, it do you also have different levels and tiers of that too, right? So someone's spiritual walk is going to be different from another's. So you
Right.
might have somebody who's been in church for 25 years and feels that because they've gone to church for 25 years, they're more spiritual than you, versus someone who's done internal work and it feels that they're more spiritually mature. So it's a hard pill to swallow. And for those of you tuning in, please feel free to ask any questions. If you have any comments, feel free to put them below. But do you have any experiences dating people and being unevenly yoked? And I'll share some of mine too. This is an open platform. It's a safe space. Let's talk about it.
Yes. So two situations come to mind. There was one person that I have been friends with this guy for years, and I knew he was very like much into the Bible, and like he wrote religious poetry and all of that. And but we had just been friends, like platonic friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came to a point where I guess we had showed interest in one another, and I guess I don't know if it was dating, but we started the dating process. So, and this was the first time I had really encountered this. And so, again, him being very, very religious and very much into the church, and he can quote the Bible scriptures and everything. And I remember us having a conversation one time. We were just like chilling at my house, and I said something along the lines of, there's God in everything. Like, there's God in that bench, there's God in that dresser. And he was like, there's no God in the dresser. Like, what do you like? No, God is, And I was like, no, because of God in us, or in the person who created that, was able to get that download and manifest that vision into something physical. There's God in everything around us.
Right.
And he didn't, like, we bumped heads on that. And in that very moment, I realized, I was like, I can't raise children with this person.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just like the needle scratched on the record,
Right.
and this is somebody that like I loved as a friend. Like we were like two peas in a pod as friends. So it was a natural progression for us to take our friendship to the next level. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that one incident, I was just like, yeah, no,
This ain't gonna work.
nope,
Right.
it's not going to work because, and then not to say he was a religious zealot or anything like that, but it was just like there was such a difference of belief systems, right? And I know, like, I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not a scripture quoter. I do read my Bible. I do read Psalms. I do have the 23rd Psalms up on my front door before I walk out. You know what I'm saying? But I just have a different relationship. And so I from that, I was like, I'm not even going to go down that road. Like, no matter how much chemistry we had or how much I like this dude, it's like, it's just not going to work. Another example was this other guy that I was just like, we had been friends, and then, we started dating, and then we fell out of touch, and then we got back in touch. And between the time of us falling out of touch and getting back in touch, he became like the pastor's bodyguard, for lack of a better description. So he was deep in the church, and it was one of these organizations that, like, on their website, in their like vision statement, I think it even mentioned something about like they were anti-LGBTQIA, and I was just like, how you gonna put that on your website, bro? So that was one part of it, and then he was of the belief system, or his particular church. And I even went to church with him on Sunday because I'm open-minded. I grew up in church. Like, I'm not going to like, no, I'm not coming to church. Yeah, I'm going to come to church with you. Like, I believe in the Bible. I believe in spirituality. I believe in God and a higher power.
Right.
And he was like, I'm a kingdom man looking for a kingdom woman. I don't know how familiar you are with kingdom man and kingdom woman.
Girl, they laid it on thick. Go ahead.
Right. So
For
But
real.
then like we would hang out, we would spend time, and he would like try to guilt trip me, after we had like relations or whatever. And I'm just like, see, what you're not gonna do is make me
Right.
feel a kind of way when you've
Mhm.
clearly acted of your own volition. Nobody held a gun to your head. And it was kind of
Mhm.
like I don't know if I was like a temptation to him or what it was. So it was just a bunch of different things he, I think, was trying to resolve within himself because,
Mhm.
there's carnal desires, and then there's the way of the kingdom and the kingdom man. And those two things I think were in conflict for him when we hung out, when we dated.
Mhm.
So that relationship went the way of the dodo bird. And those were two distinct situations where
Mhm.
I know like faith and spirituality were in direct conflict for me and the other person.
Mhm.
I
And
have more, but I'll stop here and let
no,
you
I love
carry
that,
on.
and I think that's so important. I thank you and for sharing those stories because I think sometimes we want to believe in the person instead of believing that God is going to bring the right person for us. Of course, we meet people along the way, and they are stepping stones. But I think sometimes in general, when we meet people, we put too much of an emphasis on them, like we lose sight of who we are. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think it's important. So like when I date, which it's like not that often, but when I do, and I meet someone that I am interested, I would say like the last 5 years, I actually sit down and I like meditate or pray about if I should even continue pursuing this situation. And I didn't practice that before, but when I started practicing it, in my late 20s, early 30s, slowly but surely, your intuition gets louder and louder and louder because I try to be aware of the wolves in sheep's clothing because these men and religious men, spiritual men,
Oh,
faithful men,
yeah, they're
all of
human
them.
first.
Yeah, and they will literally like lay it on thick. And sometimes as women, we want to hear all those things, and I would rather take my time in a situation now than fall victim. So I mean, I've dated guys who were woke, Christian woke, fifth percenter woke, uh, just street woke. And they always drop in wisdom and information, and those are nuggets that I can take with me in life. But at the core of it, you realize that their foundation is rocky, their foundation is very shaky, and
Yeah.
it's very surface. And there are a lot of surface people, spiritually surface individuals, and religiously surface individuals. And I think it's important for us, before we get in our next relationships, to really take the time and meditate on a person we're interested in, or meditate on, just the dating process, because we're in our 20s and 30s and 40s, and we don't want to waste time unnecessarily. And it's not always easy, but I do feel like it's a factor that we should take into consideration. So for me, I mean, in the beginning, it's all fluff, and I mean, I'm just grouping them together. Um, it's fluff. And then when you get down to asking questions about, how would we raise our kids, or, just how you view um, the sanctity of monogamy, a lot of times they want to be polygamous, and I mean, I'm just like, I don't subscribe to that. Oh, well, in the Bible. Well, it's 2021. And I just find that a lot of times, and especially when it comes on to certain elements of spirituality, people allow their egos to get in the way. And, the history of the religion as a whole, it's very male dominant. But I say that to say, don't get too caught up in the feel. Not you. I'm just saying people in general shouldn't get too caught up in the feel of it, but just really trust intuition and pay attention to the conversations, because even the devil knew the Bible in and out. Okay? And we don't need no Lucifers in our life. Trust me. We do
Right.
not. What are you going to say? Go ahead, D.
I was just reading May's comment. The concept of being equally yoked was lost on me. I've approached dating like I do anything else. I just go with the flow and when it's time to go. Um, And so, and I get that, May, because like the equally yoked thing, whenever I hear equally yoked, I used to automatically think, you know, statements like, where's my Boaz? And I just like always think of the Bible and things like that.
Right.
Um, but like in my, especially like even thinking of my last relationship, equally
Mhm.
yoked also means, you know, are both people bringing equal energy, right? Equal
Mhm.
energy to the partnership.
Mhm.
So like if are you this person is, you know, you're trying to you when you're when let me speak for myself. When I'm in a relationship
Mhm.
and I'm dating someone, I'm empowering them. I want to see them do their best. You know, whatever you tell me your purpose, your dream is, like I'm here for you, like I'm a ride for you. I'm pouring into you. And my expectation is that you want the best for me too. You want to see me in my purpose. You are writing for me. You want to see me elevated because as individuals, if we're doing that for each other, the partnership is then, of course, you know, going to skyrocket equally, right? But if one person is doing a lot of pouring in, but the other person isn't pouring in or just dipping out, then it's like
Mhm.
one person is left at a deficit and you're not coming in at it equally. Equally yoked doesn't always mean, you know, we got to be making the same amount of money or, you know, he got to be paid, she got to be paid, etc. Like people bring different things to the relationship that add up to an equal, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And so I think in my last relationship is when I really began to understand because people would even see from the outside in, like, you know, when you hear things like, you know, you could do better or this person's not at your level and you're like, but I like them and they like me. And you'll hear that. Like, I'm sure you've heard it in past relationships. And that's when I began to understand, like, you're here, Dionne, and this other person is here or here. And they're just not, you're not vibrating
At the same time.
energetically the
Right.
same. Like, whether what you're bringing, how you're contributing, how you're feeling, how you're showing up. Like, you
Mhm.
want to have that, you want to be here with the person because then you, you, you feel better. Like you feel like you were just saying the feeling, the intuition, like you know when you know when shit ain't right. You know,
Right.
you're like, why am I
Right.
feeling like this? Or why do I feel taken for granted? Or why am I feeling like whatever? When it's
Mhm.
here, when you're here with the other person,
Mhm.
it feels good. You're both vibing on that level, right? Like what you seek is seeking you. And then to piggyback off of what you just said, like meditating on your partner or what have you to call in the right person, it starts with me. It
Right.
starts with me showing up the way I want my future partner to show up, right? If I want my future partner to have good credit, guess what? Dionne got to have good credit. If I want this
Right.
person to be trustworthy and understanding and loving, guess what? I have to be that way. And I have to be that way to myself. You know, what I used to find in the past, as I, you know, before I began doing a lot more of my self discovery work, is that I was seeking things in a partner that I wasn't doing for myself. So
Right.
the partner can't come in and fill those holes. Like I have to be self realized and self actualized and meet that
Mhm.
person whole. So they meet me whole and we continue on. Does that make sense?
That was that was deep. Yes, it makes a whole lot of sense. And when you, I felt it deep. And what I love about everything that you said is so true. Like so, in hindsight, if maybe I would have understood vibrations and energy and frequency more instead of looking
Yeah.
and focusing on being so much of an empath. Well, they're a good person. They mean well. Meanwhile, I'm giving, and I'm giving, and I'm giving, and I'm not getting the same in return. And those are learning lessons because what I always said I never wanted to be was 60 dealing with the same individual being miserable and unhappy. And I think society has this false notion of settling down. The term settle down, settling down. What does that mean? What is that? I don't want to settle down. I don't want to settle at all. And for whatever reason, like I always joke and say, like, they be like, Erica, you're so pretty, you're so intelligent. How could you be single? And I always say this. I say, God got an out of order sign on my forehead until the right person comes. Because, if I would have entertained every guy that approaches me or is inboxing me, that would be ridiculous of me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But some people do, and there's no judgment. But it's like you said, it's taking the time to get to know yourself. So I'm an observer. I watch, I listen. I want to hear how you see the world. What do you view? One of my biggest questions that I ask when I date is, what is something that you've always wanted to do and never done, or a place you wanted to go and never gone? And you'd be surprised how many dudes don't know the answer, and they'll just straight up tell you, I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
So you don't
What else
know.
are you offering me, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't know if it's a defense mechanism or they really just don't know. And
Or they
I'm
don't
not,
want to get that deep.
or they just don't want to get that deep. You're absolutely right. But I do find that, especially based on how society has raised us, we're a lot more detailed in knowing what we want because we've been raised. How do you want your wedding to be? How do you want this? How do you want that? And men aren't raised like that. So I'm not going to lie. When they do tell me I don't know, I take it for face value. When
Yeah.
people tell you who they are, believe them. It doesn't take away from their character. It just takes away from the fact that they just don't know what they want, who they are. And that's a simple question. If you ask that question, the person should say Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? Or I want
Right.
to skydive. Like it should just come innately. And there's no judgment, but I think that the structure of the home and the structure of schooling needs to shift. It needs to change and allow people to tap into their creative sides again. When we were growing up, we had what? Extracurricular activities. You
Yeah.
understand? We had after school programs. These kids don't know what an after school program is. They don't know what that
Right.
is. We have fun.
Especially now we're on shutdown.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it just makes a huge difference. You know, it makes a huge difference having not just strong faith in oneself and my own spiritual practice, but
Mm-hmm.
being with a partner that
Right.
believes in and supports that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then it's like I don't want to go into all the different ways, but it's like having being in a relationship where your partner is spiritual or faith based or excuse me believes in a higher power or something greater than themselves, right,
Mm-hmm.
is super helpful. it's
Of course.
it's because then because not only are you the both of you working together, you
Mm-hmm.
also have the powers that be, whether that's you believe in God is spirit, all universe, source.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just something greater than both of you as well, that
Right.
you can call on to help you as individuals and also to help the relationship on a whole.
Right. And
And being able to connect with someone um, on a spiritual level, like authentically, is great too, because like we've talked about so many times, energy does not lie. Energy
mm,
does not lie. And whether you want to call it intuition, your gut, you get goosebumps, the hairs on the back of your neck, right? And that goes both ways, good and not good, not so good. When you feel like you meet somebody, you're like, oh, you feel this thing, and you pay attention to that. And, you continue to get to know them, but your intuition and your gut also is giving you cues and giving you signals and signs,
right.
right? And
Right.
sometimes we may ignore them
Yeah.
or, or we heed them, right? So I think it's not just like external
Right.
faith and spirituality, it's also our internal.
I believe that. I definitely believe that. And it is. And when you were speaking about the frequency, I feel that once you resonate within yourself to being your highest and best self, and again, we're always evolving, it goes a longer way because you will attract your equal. And in the past, you can't really get upset with the universe for sending someone who resonated with us on our lower vibration. I mean, that's where we were. That doesn't take away. We're
Yeah,
still nice women. We're still beautiful women. We're still go-getters, but we were still vibrating at a lower frequency, and we had to break out of the mold of the systematics, how we were raised and all of those things to be
right.
bold in our skin and say, I'm not doing this. I have beliefs in this because I love me first.
Yeah,
And we really don't know a person until I don't think we ever really know a person. I think relationships are a growth process. People change,
absolutely.
people evolve, things happen in life. and they might retreat a little bit, you know, if their parents pass away. But I think that the element of choosing to grow together is the big factor, and really tapping in. So I think what with spirituality and a connection with God is one of the biggest things that I desire in a soulmate or a mate. It brings on an innate element of accountability and consistency. I say that to say this: if an individual is really in love with God, the universe, goddess, then they're able to take heed and listen to their intuition, to what's being told to them, to be obedient, because obedience is better than sacrifice. So if they have that connection, right, and they know that they choose and they want to be with you, the same energy and delicacy and respect and reverence they have for the divine is the same energy that they will have not only for themselves but for you and our, you know, me and, you know, their significant other, because there's just this understanding that I'm not just saying that I am spiritual or I am faithful. I literally and genuinely have a connection with God, goddess, you know, and to me that really sits well in my spirit, because there's no need to try to control your partner, no need to try to, you know, none of that negative energy, because it will just flow. And when you hear the older folks say, just take it easy, relax, it will happen. Like you be like, well, you know, your older self, your young self, be like, what you mean? No, he better do this and she better do that. And you get it though. You start to understand. You start to get it. And I feel that as a whole, there's just a lot of I think there's a lot of misunderstanding in certain religious areas, because I feel like, honestly, I don't feel Jesus was religious. He was spiritual, you know, and this is just my opinion. I don't feel like he was a religious individual. When people were defiling the temple, he was mad. He went and flipped over tables and he was like, stop defiling my father's house. And who killed him? Like, yeah, people say the Romans, but no, it was the religious, the higher religious board members, I don't know what you call them, but the higher ups in the religion, who didn't want him to interfere what they had been teaching and what they've been, you know, speaking all these years. Who is this man to come and contradict what we say? And I think that we have to have our own mind in anything that we do, and tapping into yourself, tapping into the universe is the biggest and the first step, so that you're not warped by society and tradition and I think mostly tradition. You know, I think that's been a big factor. Yeah,
finding it for connecting with it for ourselves, for, you know, as individuals. A lot of unlearning, you know, as the phrase has become popular last year. But having that one-on-one connection is super important, you know, with God, with the Bible, with Source, and like you said, cultivating it within oneself, because then that's how I get to show up genuinely in whatever partnership, you know, friendship, familiar relationship as well.
You get to be your genuine self. Like, I think sometimes too, like when I think about being with my soulmate, like to a degree, like the guys from my past, I still never really gave my all. I never really, you know, I think we hold in some parts of ourselves, because in some kind of weird way, we know that person is not really the one. So we'll give them a little, you know, even a lot, but they don't get all of us, you know, to be in but I want to be able to just fall and be like, finally, Lord, where you been? You understand? But it's because I took a long time to find where I needed to be.
Right.
And I got to be accountable for myself. But it's a process. And during this process, one of the biggest things is we have to be kind to ourselves. We have to be gentle to ourselves during this time. We're human. We're going to slip and fall. But the biggest thing is, you know, when they always say, you fall 7 times, get up 8. And it goes a long way, because those are learning lessons. Those are only going to make you stronger and better within yourself to attract what you really desire. And everyone watching, either now or in the replay or YouTube, just recognize that this is the format and the time where you can just completely fall in love with yourself. and find
Yeah.
yourself. And that's a beautiful thing.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. So I wanted to touch on something you said before in regards to low vibrational, and then to piggyback off of what you said when you say you think of your soulmate or you're looking forward to falling.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
like visioning is so important. Like, when I vision, whether it's for work or career or love or family, like thinking about what it's going to be like when I'm with my person, right? My love person. And that's super important because it gives like not just your mind, but my subconscious and my heart, um, this thing like it's already here, it's already happening versus like just sitting and pining away like I can't wait to meet my person. It's like I visualize being with that person. Like they may not have a clear face, but like the energy, like I I'm in that energy and in that vibration with them.
Mm-hmm.
To go back to something you mentioned, and please, if folks watching, if you have questions, please put questions in the comment box
Yeah.
because Eric and I could talk forever about this. Um,
Yeah. And really quickly, Dionne, really
so
quickly. Um, Hello to everyone joining. Sean, Ty, I want to just acknowledge everyone, and Nicole and Mike. Hello and hello everyone. I love you guys. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
thank you. Um, so yeah, so I think you've probably seen the meme. There are people who are still trying to like access the old you because they don't have access to the new you. Um, and so that when you said low vibration, it made me think of that because who I was before I grew, before I had a greater understanding of myself, is different now to then. And I do still, like my birthday was Sunday, last Sunday. And so, I'm getting like texts and DMs. And so my phone had eaten a bunch of my contacts. So I'm getting messages from phone numbers and I'm just like, thank you, but who is this? And some of the messages were from people that I was like trying to no longer be associated with. And I'm just like, ugh, do I say something? Or do I just acknowledge it? Because I know I've grown and moved on, but I no longer want to be in vibration with this person or people that I was in vibration with when I was in a lower vibrational energy, right? And or like there's individuals who I associated with when I was in a lower vibrational space, when I didn't love myself enough or when I wasn't strong enough to think I was enough. And so I accepted, less than the bare minimum. And it's like, yeah, no, I know better. So I have to do better, you know? But it's so interesting to, it's not interesting, is not the word. I'm grateful to be in this place of growth because I can look at a communication and go, well, you only communicate with me via text. You never call. We never speak. So what is this really? Right.
Right.
Or, right. Or somebody where we were dating, but it had to be a secret. Like, no,
Right.
no, no.
We don't deserve. Yeah, I feel all of that, D, because we don't deserve any half-asses,
Thank you,
in
Sean.
all things. And in that same frame, when we think about who we were in our lower selves, we can't change the past. Everything from the past made us who we are. So forgive that person. Forgive 21-year-old Dionne. Forgive 21-year-old
I
Erica.
have.
And we have to keep it moving. But like you said, and this is where something is happening in your life, right? Shout out to you, Dionne, for booking and killing it like the last 3-4 years. I'm like, Dionne is on everything. And a few weeks ago, she was on Station 19 in Grey's Anatomy for their season finale, and you killed it, boo. And I'm so proud of you on that because this journey is not easy, and we put in the blood, sweat, and tears. And especially as creatives, we want to be able to, we feel, we just have this energy within us. And we want to share that with a counterpart. And I think sometimes because we're so free spirited, we can sometimes miss the signs. But because we've grown, in addition to maintaining that element within us, that what's coming for us is beautiful. And when I say that, I say that's when the hey E's or the hey D's from the people from our past or guys who were interested in us that we just knew, like the signs was there. God was like, don't even do it. You know,
Right.
like those people want to come around when they see us vibrating higher and higher. And it's not that they want to add anything to us. They just want to take and take, like they took when we were at a lower vibration. And it's being honest with ourselves, and especially if you're an empath, to not, excuse my French, not give a, but
Yeah.
okay, about how they're doing, what space they're in, and
You
it's
bless
not
them
about
and send them on their way.
exactly, exactly. But sometimes people don't. I see the question from me. I'm going to answer it. I
Yes,
mean,
I want to
answer
answer that too.
for sure. But I just wanted to say that for everyone watching, just forgive yourself, move forward, and be true to yourself, and that's the biggest thing. So I'll go ahead and read this question, and then you can answer it, D. Okay? So
Okay.
May asks, how do you get comfortable? Oh, what? Hold on. Now it just jumped. How do you get comfortable opening your heart again once you've experienced heartbreak?
Well, I have a couple answers to that question.
Okay.
I'm going to speak from my place of truth because that's the only place I know. It's hard as hell. Like, I'm not even going to front May. And this, a lot of folks don't know. I spent 15 years with someone. I was married and I was in a 15-year relationship. And I got divorced, what, 4 years ago now? Five? I don't even know. I stopped counting. And that was hard. Like, that was hard because I didn't get married to get divorced, but whatever. It didn't work out, and I'm a Capricorn, so I do not go down without a fight. I do not give up, right? And then I was in a relationship for a long time, let's say at least 5 years, 5 years. And this was somebody I loved dearly and cared about, but again, it didn't work out. And I remember having a conversation with my therapist and recognizing, like, because, I'm doing the work, I'm in therapy, I'm, working on myself, figuring out, going deep, peeling away the layers. Like, I'm like sleeves rolled up. I'm in it because I'm like, I want to get clear with myself
Right.
to be the best person, the best human, the best woman I can be, individual for my relationship, for me, right? And love myself and show up for myself. But honestly, like it's hard. I remember working with this energy healer and she said, the more times your heart gets broken, the better, because
Yeah.
that helps you know you're alive. So, and so consciously I know that, but I remember saying to my therapist in my last session, like, I am literally afraid, right? And I just had to say it, like, I'm afraid of a new relationship, like meeting someone new and getting to know them. And so we talked about that. And what we did was she said, well, that's fair. She's like, I'm not even going to try to therapize you. And that's why I love my therapist. She's like, that's real. She's like, it sucks. But how about you think about it in the sense of reframing? It's like, you know what? I'm excited to meet this new person. I'm excited to get to know this person. Like I look forward to it. And not that the fear isn't there because it's like you spend 15 years with somebody, you spend 5 years with somebody. Now you got to start from blank page, new book, freaking new chapter, a new book. Like you like page one, like, all right, what's your favorite color? And it's like, I want to be 2 years in already,
Yeah.
but I can't because that's not how it works.
Got to
So
go through the
it's
process.
like reframing it. And like, I've had my heart broken. Like when I tell you broken, broken, broken on the floor crying, broken. However, I get back up. I get back up. I get back up and it's scary. I get the butterflies, the feeling, the moment before the roller coaster drops. And and by acknowledging that I'm afraid or that it's scary or that it's uncomfortable, by naming the thing it's helped me. It's helped me, May. Like, and anyone else might have had this question. It's helped. Like, it's scary, but in the same token, it's like I'm gonna get to meet somebody new. I'm gonna get to know somebody new. Like, figuring out their quirks and them figuring out my quirks and all of that stuff. So I get to versus I'm gonna have to or whatever. It's like I look forward to it. And
Right.
I embrace that, you know, and I embrace that's fair. And I'm also a person that knows, you know, because we're so bullish, we're bullish, right? You got to
Right.
risk big to win big. And
Right.
love is like the stock market. I could put all of my eggs in and lose it all. And I could also put all my eggs in and win it all.
Exactly.
And I'm willing to take that risk over and over again because the alternative is what if, never trying, and never asking the question.
Right. Right.
And we're
And that's
put here like
right.
like at the end of the day, that's what all humans, all mammals want, like to be loved and to love.
Right. And that I love all of that, and that was beautiful. And what I get from it is it's intention, being intentional. You get me? Like it's just a peace of mind to see the glass half full because nothing is going to be perfect. And
No.
we have to just be in a space of receiving all of the beautiful souls that God has blessed us to experience to be better. And I look forward to spending days and nights with my husband and looking at the clock and be like, babe, it's 11:11, going on vacations and experiencing the fullness thereof. So for
Yeah.
me, every heartache, every tear, and I'm a high energy person. Today I'm kind of low. I mean, not low, but I'm calm today. But for those who
Same.
know me, I'm like high energy. I'm like, oh girl, what we doing? Like I'm that energy, but I do have to calm down sometimes. But to be able to be my complete self, to be goofy, to be silly, and to be able to be with somebody who loves those things about me, where maybe somebody from my past thought I was mad annoying or I just was too smart for them, or like
Oh, too much, right?
right, just too much. But the right person is gonna love you exactly for who you are. And a lot of times we use the term soulmate, but my term that I've been using the last, I would say, 4 months has been twin flame, because to me, the twin flame is your true reflection, the divine reflection of you. You guys finish each other's sentences, and it's deep to me. This is just me,
Well,
It's
I have a
powerful.
comment on that, but go ahead.
It's powerful to me. And if you are with your twin, or if you want to consider them your soulmate, whatever it may be, if you're looking at them, you're a spitting image. So when you're low and you choose to stay low, it's kind of like it's like a ping pong match, and it's him helping you to be better and you helping him. And I'm a Virgo, like Sean will tell you, we both Virgos, but Dionne is an earth sign. We're grounded, so we feel more. And when I'm sad, I'm sad. It may take me like a week to get over it, but then I'm done. When I'm angry, but then when I'm over it, I'm done. So I feel all of my emotions like full force, and then I can release. Everyone's different. Some people, they
Yeah.
don't feel it and then it hits them later. But all I'm trying to say is take the time to feel what you feel, and take the time to just really be in a space of isolation during those times, to meditate, burn some candles, pray, cry it out, whatever you got to do to get to that place of peace, to recalibrate and be like, okay, fix it. What part did I play in this situation? Because sometimes we don't want to take the accountability factor. We got to look ourselves in the mirror, and that sometimes we're like, okay, I could have done this differently. But I think those are the ironic moments in life where we can kind of laugh, like a couple weeks, a month down the line, when it's kind of funny, when all the emotions have worn off, when it can be funny
Right.
then.
Right.
But I just think that it is imperative for us to have these conversations as well, because people are just getting together. I don't know if you've seen these online dating commercials that they've been pumping out online. These dating commercials, she dating the devil. It's
I
a little commercial. I'm not gonna say what company it is, but I was like,
I
y'all just
haven't
gonna
been on the apps. I'm not. I haven't worked up the courage to get back on the apps. I've considered it, but I haven't made the leap yet.
don't. You know why I say don't do it? I would say don't do it now. This is ample time. Yes, we've all gone through hell in 2020, okay? Trust me. But to me, it's people who have have nothing else to do with their time than to be searching for dates. Where you going? Where you going? You just gonna be online?
You can meet on FaceTime and Zoom. Like, look, to each their own.
I'm
I'm not
not
going to take
judging.
any. Look, people are looking for. They use the apps to hook up or whatever. You never know. Somebody might meet their person.
They do, and I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, based on this conversation and what we're talking about,
Yeah.
this is the ample time to find yourself or heal yourself or grow yourself. This is that time because we're
If
going
you're
to
ready,
open up.
everybody ain't ready for that. Everybody ain't ready for that. They had a whole year last year where we were locked up inside. Folks, look. The lesson can only be learned when the student is ready. If 2020 wasn't their year to slow down and learn something or reflect, then it just wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But we still got
no
time.
shade, no nothing.
True enough. And
Everyone's not ready.
everyone is not ready, and everybody gets ready at their own time. But what I'm saying is, what I love about this is the element to like at least plant the seeds in people who are watching the replay or whatever YouTube, and
Yeah.
having these conversations because they are important. And we just got into 2021. We still have time. People still have time, and I'm always a work in progress. You're a work in progress. Even though we've gotten to certain spaces and places, we still
Yeah.
have more work to do. So all I'm trying to say is we just have to be kind to ourselves and be aware of what we want in the next phase of our life. You know, what we truly want in our soulmate, twin flame, but becoming that. So like if credit is an issue, getting the credit together. You know what I'm
Get your
saying?
finances together.
Right, all of that, all of that. So, and again, I'm loving this conversation. Do you want to? And really quickly, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the
Yeah, put
question
in the
box.
question box. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little chat box with a question in it, so pop it in there and type it in, and it'll pop up on the screen so everybody can see it. May asked another question. It says, "How do you suppose you would deal with a change in spiritual practices within the relationship? How do you suppose you would deal with a change in spiritual practices?" I don't know. That's a good question.
To me, it ranges because is it the person is like if they're Muslim and I'm Christian, is that what you're asking, or it because I'm man? Can you rephrase the question?
Well, basically, so somebody could start off a certain practice, like you're a Christian or Pentecostal or Baptist, and they transition to being more like spiritual and like meditation, and maybe they change religion, they become a Buddhist, or they're more into the occult. I think that's probably her question. So somebody goes from strict in the church, Bible thumping, and now they're practicing occult or more spiritual or more hoodoo or voodoo or Yoruba, another practice altogether.
That makes sense. And so how to deal with that?
Yeah.
I'll let you answer first.
Okay. I mean, honestly, it would have to be an open conversation, right? Because this is somebody that whether I know or I'm getting to know, and like you mentioned before, you never really fully know somebody. But I think it's an open conversation because this person is growing and changing. And for me, as long as it's not something where it's harmful or hurtful to them or other people, and it's harmful or hurtful to others or to themselves, and you're not up in here like worshiping the devil or like just negative vibes and negative energy, then let's talk about it. You have my support. Like I'm not here to box anybody in or make them feel stuck because I come with a very open practice of spirituality and the things that I partake in. So I'm not going to be the first one to be like, no. However, like I said, I'm also clear on energy. And so if you're engaging in a practice that's calling in low vibrations, yeah, I can't rock with you.
Right. And that's why I'm very mindful of the things that I dabble in, because I mean, there's good and bad, positive and
There's high
negative
and low vibration. Absolutely.
in everything. So with that being said, I think I would agree with you on that. It's just as long as it's not interfering with the space of peace, then I respect it. If there are things that I can take away from it, because I'm not just the type of partner where I'm just with somebody and they're doing their own thing and I'm doing mine. Like, I want to understand what they see or what
Right.
they're into, because that might just be their next phase of enlightenment that they're going to help me to get through. So I will go into supporting them with an open mind, but also being aware of what it is, because there are a lot of different practices out there. And again, sometimes things look good on the surface until you get deep into it. So it's just also just like in the beginning of dating a person, meditate for yourself, trust your intuition for yourself. But I do feel like we should support our partners in their endeavors, whatever it may be. We should be supportive, as long as it's making the relationship better and stronger. And that's my answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like my answer. I'm on you. So
May said yes. Okay, so that was a good clarification. Thank
right.
you.
And this is a lovely conversation. So we have about maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, right, because we started at 3:10.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, so in our next relationship, right? What would be some spiritual deal breakers, even though we just kind of touched on it, but what would be complete spiritual deal breakers?
I mean, I think to reiterate, lack of belief in anything, right? And not just because something you mentioned earlier, you had said that, someone that doesn't believe in a higher power or something greater than themselves lack a moral compass. I mean, I don't agree with that, because I don't want to be like, well, because you don't believe in nothing, you don't got no morals. I don't know. I think I would want to explore, well, why? Why don't you believe in something, or why don't you believe in a higher power? Because I did date someone like that, and it wasn't that they lacked any morality, is that they were jaded by their religion or their family's practice early on. I even have friends who are like ex religions, where once you leave the religion, your family stops talking to you, type of thing. So I would want to explore that. Like, I don't want to just say they lack judgment or lack anything. But yeah, not having any belief would it's a question I would not ask before getting together with someone, because this was once I was already in the relationship. Another deal breaker or place of contention, is that the word? Would be you trying to hit me over the head with your spirituality, with your religion.
Oh, I hate that. Oh my gosh. Listen, and that's one of my pet peeves. Respect people's belief system. Stop trying to force wearing long skirts or putting your hair in a bun or wearing a hair tie. Stop forcing that on people. It's so annoying. Go ahead. Sorry, Dionne.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so annoying.
Yeah. And to the point where it's like, because the thing is, having spirituality or faith does not take away from personal responsibility. We are still all responsible, right? We still all have to, like, faith without works is
dead.
Right. So no matter what you believe in or what you practice, you still got to get up and do your part, right? So when someone, I think a deal breaker would be, so after the hitting over the head would be like they absolve themselves from any personal responsibility and put everything, like the onus is on the practice. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring, like, what are you doing? What's your percentage? Like, okay, I see your prayers, I see your chanting, I see your altar, but what are you doing? Like, how are you taking part? So the whole entire part. Sean is funny.
Right, Sean.
Sorry, Sean. So that's what, 3 so far.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. Being hard or judging others that are not of that particular thing, like, oh, they're not this, so they're all heathens or they're all whatever, yeah. So like, if the person is, for example, if they're like Christian and those who are non-Christian or whatever, it's like, well, they're all lacking, and that's not fair, right? Because to each his own. And honestly, we are all from one source, and we're all seeking to connect with that one source, or connect back to what formed us, right? Because like earlier when you mentioned twin flame, and a twin flame is literally like God is source energy and God is sun. So if we were created from the sun, a twin flame, you and that person came out of that same flame, that same God energy, that same source. That's why you're a twin flames, right? And we're all part of that. We're all from that one place, right? And we all we have different practices, different faiths, different spiritualities, but it's all to get back to that one,
the oneness,
original. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was deep. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I have any other pet peeves, but I do know that I did already meet my twin flame.
Ooh! Shondo. Hello. Look at
that. Yeah. And it's not necessarily that we're meant to be together forever, but yeah, I was made aware of that a few weeks ago. And we're still connected, but we have separate lives and all of that. But yeah, I did meet my twin flame. I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
That touches me.
So we'll see. I don't know if it means we're supposed to get back together. I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. I'm still putting myself out here. It is single Saturday. It is single Saturday. So.
It's okay. And really quickly, thank you for everyone who's tuning in. And I want to add that some deal breakers for me are one, self-righteousness. I don't like self-righteous individuals who just, some of the things that you touched on are some of those examples, but I also kind of feel like self-righteous people, to me, do a lot of things behind closed doors and then try to pretend to be a saint in front of your face.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. Like, don't try to beat your chest like that. I don't like that. And I think the other thing that I wouldn't respect in a relationship is if, say for instance, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I choose to meditate or read my Bible or light a candle, do some stretching. I don't need them to interfere with that space. You remember being young? I don't know if any of you guys are West Indian, but like you sleeping, right? And the first thing your mom or dad want to do is bust in the door. Wake up, it's time for school. Wake up, it's time for church. And when you get older, you're just busting you up out your sleep. But when you get older, you understand that even getting up out of your sleep is a process, like expressing, inhaling, exhaling. Thank you, God, for another day. They don't even give you time as a youngster to get your mind right. You just get in the shower and go. And I think sometimes that causes a lot of chaos in people. People don't know how to sit still sometimes. And I need my husband, boyfriend, whatever, I need my soulmate to respect my relationship with the Creator as much as I would respect his. So if he does a whole practice at 11 o'clock before he goes to bed, then I respect it. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to need him to respect my process because it's sacred.
And hopefully you can do something together.
Together, of course, together as well. And that's a beautiful factor of it too. For sure. But I do feel like it's still important because it's got, to me, in my philosophy, it's Godhead first. He has his relationship with the Creator and I have mine, and then it's divinity and we come together. So I feel that is important. Those are actually my only two real requirements. Don't try to preach to me, especially if we're and that goes back to being evenly yoked. You two are just gonna get it. You get what I'm saying? And again, do not interrupt my process. Like if I have a process, respect my Virgo process. Okay? Listen, I'll be so serious because you know why? I'm respectful of other people. I have my ways. Sometimes I could be pretentious. I have my ways and I'm very aware of my ways, but I can also check myself in my ways. You understand? Yeah. So I'm respectful of my partner. I'm respectful of his process. And I would need him to respect mine. Dionne, we have 27 seconds. This was an amazing conversation. I love you. Tune into ABC, NBC, everything that Dionne is doing. To everyone who tuned in, thank you so much for watching the very first Single Saturdays of 2021.
Thank
I
you for
love
having
you.
me. Love
Yes,
you. Thanks
thank
for
you,
watching,
everyone.
y'all.
Happy New Year again.
Happy New Year.